Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy, the Strongest Wizard, and tonight is indeed Fight Night, and we have ourselves another OP07.5 match here. Probably the last OP07 match that I probably will end up doing for this channel. OP08 is just released. The pre-release has at least, so it's right around the corner. So this probably, like I said, will be probably my last OP07 match. We have Steven on the left-hand side with purple Luffy, as well as myself on the right with black and yellow Luffy. The classic Luffy versus Luffy. We're going to start turn 2 here for Steven. He ends up ramping 1, dropping the page 1. Classic 4-6 play. As well as myself on the right with 4 Dawn. I am debating exactly what I want to do. But quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is DXN Outpost, DXN Provisions. The only place where I get all my sealed product. And guys, right now they have a ton of OP08 product available for purchase. So if you're interested in OP08, check out the link below. Now, I was debating to play out that finger pistol to remove the page 1. I wanted to save it for another 5-cost character, but I am kind of glad I did it. Unfortunately, I ended up pitching or milling the top 2, which was the Gecko Moira as well as a Kuzan. Cards that I would have loved to have in my hand, but I guess not. It is what it is. That's the downside of that card, of course. And we're going to go ahead and play out the 5-cost kid. I hit him with the second pistol because your boy got it like that. And now with 2 active done, I'm swinging 7k into life, which he does end up taking here, dropping down to 2 life. And this portion of the video is rather quick just because we kind of know what we're doing a little bit. We're just kind of going through the motions. We've actually play tested this matchup quite a few times, and so he's gonna go ahead and start things off with a 5k swing going into life. And this is an easy 1k counter. At the same time, I kind of don't mind dropping down to 1. I'm not afraid of some sort of rush card coming down, but we are going to see the Magellan, which is annoying, but not the worst. We're gonna -1 Dawn, and we drop the Khalifa. Now, the Khalifa is the real villain in this story, just because that Khalifa can grab him so much mileage, so much advantage in any matchup as long as it survives. So I kind of actually really need to remove that card off the board. So we're gonna start things off here with a Hiyori. We're gonna go ahead and put a card back at the top of my life. Putting back a card, playing out Luffy, using ability here. We're going to play out the Rocket Luffy, popping the Khalifa, thank you, Jesus. And now with 2 active Dawn, we're going to go ahead and attach 2 onto our leader. Now, unfortunately, my leader is only 7k, but I think for this portion of the match, I don't really need to go that much higher. 9k would be amazing, but 7k will just do the job here. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm deciding to tap 1 first before I use this ability, and I think I am gonna do it first. Kind of a tough choice for me. I'm gonna play out the event card here, searching top 5 for a character, and it looks like I'm debating to grab a Luffy or a Sabo, and I think depending on my hand or based on my hand, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a Sabo, putting the rest to the bottom of the deck, of course. And now we're gonna use leader ability here. We're gonna pitch a card here to put 2 at the very top. Now the question is, what 2 cards am I going to get? I'm going to go ahead and put looks like both Luffy's on the very top. I could also put 1 from my hand, which could be that Sabo, but I'm just debating here, how aggressive is Steven actually going to be this following turn? He could be super aggressive and just bottom deck, force me to bottom deck both of my characters to the very bottom, which is kind of a nuisance here. But we're going to go ahead and put out the life this way, which is the ST13 Luffy on the very top, as well as Rocket Luffy at the very top. So it looks like at this position here, with I believe 10 Dawn now, I think Steven's sitting at, yeah, he's sitting at already 10 Dawn, very, very fast here. And we're going to swing 7k into life. This is a 1k counter, or I can send it to the bottom. Based on my hand, though, I'm just going to go ahead and give it to him. He hits the 7. We see the kid coming out, and now we have the Law. I believe I have 8 cards in my hand, so he's going to rip 2 from there, as well as set 1 of these cards as active, 1 of these Dawns is active. And yeah, grabbing 2, we see a Sabo as well as a Kuzan. Not too sad about it here. And with 1 active Dawn, we are going to go ahead and pass the turn since I am a 7k base leader. We're going to use the search ability here to grab out a Sabo, and to my surprise, I don't think I have a Luffy in my hand. That is the character Luffy, so unfortunately, I have no real way of accelerating this Luffy and becoming a 7k leader off my life. So the only other option that I have right now is to actually play a 2k counter character to take my own life, and that is an absolute mistake on my end. I feel like I should have played it out a little bit better, but we're going to play the Machina. We're going to have to bottom deck the Luffy because it can't go into my hand based on the traits of exactly what my leader tells me to. Any card that's from my life that's supposed to go to my hand is actually supposed to go to the bottom of the deck. Very, very unfortunate, but that is the trade-off to this very, very good leader here. So we're going to attach 2 Dawn to my lead. We're going to use the main ability here. We're going to pitch a card, which is that Sabo, and we're going to put 2 Sabos at the very top. I only have 1 kid character Sabo in my hand, so we're using Sabo ability. We're going to draw 2 Trash 2, and we do, in my surprise, grab a kid character Sabo, which I do end up also playing, becoming a 9k leader, and then drawing 2 more cards to trash more 2. We're going to trash a 10 cost Kuzan. I do really love that card, honestly, a lot, but at certain matchups, at certain moments, it's just really useless. So we're going to swing a big 12k into life, which ends up getting blocked by that 4 cost Law. Not too surprised about that, and this is where the matchup gets really difficult for Purple Luffy, trying to survive and really having a hard time, honestly, to survive. I mean, this is really tough. So we swing a 9k swing going into life. This is 1 card out of my hand. I have 3 cards in my hand, by the way, all thanks to that Law. That Law does a number on this deck, definitely. So we're gonna go ahead and give him the Sabo. We're gonna see the ulti to -1 to ramp 1, and we're swinging a big 9k into life once again. This is another card out of my hand. I only have 3 cards, so I have to really figure out if I want to just pitch it or actually give him the Sabo to take that as a block. And I'm actually debating here to give him the Luffy, which I do end up doing so. Now, we're at 10 Dawn here. 10 Dawn, my Gecko is finally active, and yeah, I actually just drew into my second Gecko as well, which is a Burden and a Curse. I need some counters, so we're going to go ahead and play out the Gecko Moria, grabbing 2 kid characters for my trash, which is going to be a Sabo as well as most likely another Sabo. Actually, I realized I don't have another Sabo, so it has to be this Luffy, which I don't mind. The most unfortunate part of this transaction is the fact that I don't have a Rocket Luffy in my actual in my trash, so very, very unfortunate here. So we're gonna play the Rocket Luffy ability. We're gonna go ahead and bring out the Luffy, and then now with we just drew 2 cards off that ability. We're gonna use Luffy ability here to just give him plus 2k, and now we swing a big 11k into life. I only have 1 card in my hand, and in doing the math, I don't think Steven can actually swing. He would have to swing 4 9ks. He doesn't get there with 4 9ks. I have 2 blockers. There's no real way for him to remove a Sabo blocker, especially with protection, so I'm feeling very, very safe here. And Steven now at 1 life still with this board, and I am still a 9k leader, so he has a couple options. Either he establishes a bigger turn, or he has to swing really, really heavy. Honestly, it's really only 2 options here, and Steven taking a second to realize what the play actually is. What is the most what play makes the most sense? So we're gonna go ahead and drop 2 5-cost kids and then just pass in the turn, setting up for next turn. And now I think I drew into another Gecko Moria. Pretty crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, I have 2 cards in my hand. I don't have Rocket Luffy. I have a Gecko Moria. If I play Gecko Moria, I can play 2 out more blockers, but I won't have any cards in my hand. Yeah, I wouldn't have any cards in my hand because I have to pitch 1 off leader. So I swing 9k with this Gecko Moria, and I'm telling myself in my head right now, I think I have to go for game. We have 2 blockers here, and all Steven really needs to do here is just do the math correctly. So I'm debating. If I commit to the Gecko play now, all my 10 Dawn are accounted for, right? So I'm actually going to go ahead and actually think about how I want to do this, what makes the most sense, and we're going to go ahead and see what I end up doing here. I can also just attach 2 Dawn to my lead no matter what. I become a leader with 2 life. Even though I'm at 5k, I can still have 2 blockers up as well, and Steven only has 5 cards in hand. I have an 8k character, which is Luffy. I have 2 6ks, obviously the Sabos, and then I have my leader myself. So if I attach 3, and okay, looks like we're swinging for the fences here. 8k into life, and he's gonna go ahead and give me 2 2ks. This is actually not too bad. one of these attacks, if it fails, I'm kind of donezo. So I have to make sure that both Sabos connect, including the leader. I can swing 3 9k attacks. It really all depends what he ends up doing here. So I'm swinging 9k with my leader, and yes, this 9k swing does go through, and we're gonna go ahead and block it with that kid, and we're gonna attach 3 onto the Sabo. And do we have counter? He has 2 9Ks, so technically speaking, I already have it. And yes, with 3 Dawn, I'm attaching 2, and then he only has 9k exact. I get lucky at the skin of my teeth. I wouldn't have any cards in my hand if I chose to play out the Gecko. Thank you guys so much for checking out this channel. I really do appreciate it, and stay tuned because I have a ton of new OP07, OP08 content coming out soon. See ya!